Anger is like an acid that eats away at our peace, relationships, and well-being. Uncontrolled anger can lead to destructive consequences. However, there is hope. By understanding the power of confession and forgiveness, we can break free from the grip of anger and experience true freedom and restoration. The corrosive nature of anger. Uncontrolled anger acts as a corrosive acid, damaging our lives and relationships. It stems from hurt, disappointment, and frustration, and if left unchecked, can have devastating effects on our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Uncontrolled anger is like a corrosive acid that eats away at every aspect of our lives. Just as acid has the power to dissolve and destroy, anger, when left unchecked, has the potential to wreak havoc on our well-being and relationships. It originates from a deep well of hurt, disappointment, and frustration that has not been properly addressed or healed. Physically, anger takes a toll on our bodies. The intense surge of adrenaline and heightened blood pressure that accompanies anger can lead to chronic health issues such as high blood pressure, heart problems, and weakened immune system. The stress and tension that anger creates can disrupt our sleep patterns, leaving us fatigued and drained. It's like a slow poison that gradually deteriorates our physical health. Emotionally, anger creates a storm of negative emotions within us. It engulfs us in a cloud of rage, resentment, and bitterness, clouding our judgment and impairing our ability to think rationally. It fills our hearts with a seething fire, robbing us of inner peace and joy. The constant dwelling on anger can lead to increased anxiety, depression, and a sense of isolation as it drives a wedge between us and those around us. Spiritually, anger distances us from our connection with God. It separates us from the divine love and grace that we are meant to experience. Instead of reflecting God's character of love and forgiveness, anger breeds a spirit of vengeance and retribution. It blinds us to the opportunities for growth, compassion, and spiritual transformation that are presented to us. Moreover, uncontrolled anger has devastating effects on our relationships. It erodes trust, damages communication, and creates an atmosphere of hostility. The hurtful words spoken in the heat of anger can leave lasting scars on the hearts of those we love. It fractures the bonds of intimacy and pushes people away, leaving a trail of brokenness and shattered connections. If we allow anger to control us, it becomes a vicious cycle. The more we indulge in anger, the more it strengthens its grip on us. It becomes a destructive habit that perpetuates a life of pain and brokenness. How do we free ourselves? Acknowledging the corrosive nature of anger is the first step towards healing and restoration. By recognizing the destructive power it holds, we can begin the journey of overcoming it. Through self-reflection and seeking guidance from God and wise counselors, we can delve into the root causes of our anger and find healthier ways to address our hurts, disappointments, and frustrations. In doing so, we open ourselves up to the transformative power of confession and forgiveness. Confession allows us to humbly admit our anger before God, seeking His forgiveness and guidance. It is an act of surrender, laying our burden of anger at His feet and inviting Him to heal our wounded hearts. Additionally, confessing our anger to those we have wronged can bring about reconciliation and restoration in our relationships. Forgiveness is the antidote to the corrosive nature of anger. It involves letting go of the desire for revenge, releasing the resentment and bitterness that anger breeds within us. By forgiving others, we free ourselves from the toxic grip of anger. It is a choice we make, an act of grace and mercy, mirroring the forgiveness we have received from God. Through confession and forgiveness, we can break free from the corrosive nature of anger. We can experience healing, restoration, and a renewed sense of peace. It is a journey that requires courage, humility, and perseverance, but the rewards are immeasurable. Acknowledging and confessing anger. To effectively deal with anger, we must first acknowledge its presence within us. Self-reflection helps us identify the triggers and underlying causes of our anger. Through confession, we humbly admit our anger before God, and when appropriate, before those we have been angry with. Confession opens the door to healing and restoration. The power of forgiveness. By confronting our anger, seeking forgiveness, and extending forgiveness to others, we can transform our lives and relationships. We can replace the acid of anger with the healing balm of love, grace, and reconciliation. Forgiveness is the key to releasing the grip of anger. It involves letting go of resentment, grudges, and the desire for revenge. By forgiving others, we free ourselves from the bitterness that anger breeds within us. Forgiveness allows us to move forward with a renewed sense of peace and promotes reconciliation in damaged relationships. Forgiveness is incredibly powerful in the process of letting go of anger for several reasons. Breaking the cycle. Forgiveness breaks the cycle of anger and retaliation. When we hold on to anger, it tends to perpetuate itself, leading to a never-ending cycle of bitterness and resentment. By choosing forgiveness, we interrupt this destructive pattern and open the door to healing and reconciliation. Emotional liberation. Forgiveness liberates us from the emotional burden of anger. Holding on to anger keeps us emotionally imprisoned, constantly reliving the hurt and pain. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the grip of negative emotions, allowing us to experience emotional freedom and find inner peace. Restoring inner harmony. Anger disrupts our inner harmony and peace. It creates turmoil within us and hinders our ability to live fully and joyfully. Forgiveness restores that inner harmony by removing the toxic presence of anger and replacing it with a sense of serenity and well-being. It allows us to regain control over our emotions and live in alignment with our true selves. Healing and emotional well-being. Forgiveness is a powerful catalyst for healing. When we forgive, we create space for healing to take place, both within ourselves and in our relationships. It allows us to let go of the pain and wounds caused by anger, paving the way for emotional well-being and restoration. Rebuilding relationships. Forgiveness is essential for repairing and rebuilding damaged relationships. Holding on to anger erects walls of hostility and distance between individuals, making it difficult to mend the fractures caused by conflict. By extending forgiveness, we open the door to reconciliation, understanding, and the possibility of restoring trust and intimacy in relationships. Empowering self-growth. Forgiveness is an act of strength and personal growth. It requires us to transcend our ego and choose love and compassion over bitterness and revenge. Through forgiveness, we cultivate qualities such as humility, empathy, and resilience. It empowers us to rise above the pain and injustice, enabling us to grow into more compassionate and resilient individuals. Reflecting God's grace. Forgiveness aligns us with the divine nature of God. As recipients of God's abundant grace and forgiveness, we are called to extend that same grace to others. When we forgive, we reflect God's character and demonstrate His transformative power at work in our lives. It allows us to participate in God's redemptive plan and embody His love and mercy. In summary, forgiveness is powerful in the process of letting go of anger because it breaks the cycle of retaliation, liberates us emotionally, restores inner harmony, promotes healing and well-being, rebuilds relationships, empowers self-growth, and reflects God's grace. It is a transformative choice that brings freedom, restoration, and a renewed sense of peace to our lives. I hope you've enjoyed this short video on freedom from anger, and I wish you all the best in living a wonderful life full of God's blessings.